Cunningham here. I am super excited to be doing this interview with our featured expert this month, Malcolm Gibbons. So for those of you that don't know, Malcolm has spent the last 7 years successfully coaching salons throughout Australasia in sales, growth and service delivery, time management and culture change. There are many situations that salon owners face on a daily basis, and Malcolm provides professional advice in all aspects of salon business ownership. He graduated from Massey University with a Master of Business Administration. However, he is a firm believer in the school of just doing it and expanding upon what works, perpetually testing and measuring. Previously, he owned his own salon for 16 years, where he put this philosophy to good use. Having led his own salon expansion, tripling the floor space and adding spa services, he increased revenue by over 470% per week. In addition, Malcolm has 10 years experience with salon-specific product suppliers and helping salon owners with products, providing business advice and training. He also established and ran a national vertical market importing computer hardware software company for 6 years, concurrently while growing and expanding his salon. So welcome, Malcolm.
Wow, thanks, Tony. Just listening to you saying what I've been doing, I'm thinking, gosh, I've been busy.
You certainly have. So I'm super excited to be talking to you today, and you being our featured expert this month. So do you want to just give our the Successful Salons Owners community, Successful Salons community, a bit of a background on how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I was introduced to the hair industry many moons ago, back when gasoline lights were still happening outside on the street corners. It seems that long ago. After working in retail in a menswear capacity and wanting something more for me, and wasn't really thinking of the hair industry, but was looking for a rep's job, because at that stage a rep's job was the next step. It sounded exciting and fun. And thankfully I went to a supplier who was looking for a rep, and they decided to take a chance on me, and absolutely within the first week loved the industry. Got so excited about just being involved in the industry, and love it to this day. I still get up in the morning and love what I do, getting involved in the industry. I was did that for 10 or so years. As you said, I bought my own salon, made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot of what not to do, learned also what to do that works, and sold it after achieving the goals that we set, and retired, or according to my partner, became temporarily unemployed. And she was more right than I was, unfortunately. But then, I worked in the corporate field for a couple of years as a general manager of an international coaching firm, and that's where I found the blend of loving the industry, but also helping people, because coaching is about helping people, and how much I love doing that. So I didn't really love the corporate world. Moved out of that, sat down and retired again. Well, became temporarily unemployed again, and then decided, well, it's what I love doing, love helping people. My experiences in the salon industry and many different fields in the industry, so let's go and help some salon owners have better businesses and better lives, which is what I do today. I love it every minute of the day.
Oh, I love it. It's a good story. And I love the fact that, and I probably have to mention this, is that you are not a qualified hairdresser when you owned your salon.
No.
And neither was I. And so my point really is that for those salon owners out there that feel like they're tied to their salon and have to work on the floor to make money, Malcolm and I are living proof that you can actually have a salon that makes money and not work on the floor. So I love that.
I can't add anything to that. It'd be me saying the same thing in different words.
So if anything, hopefully we're inspiring somebody that you can do it.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Definitely possible. In fact, I wasn't going to say anything about it, but I will. I often say that it's a disadvantage sometimes being a hairdresser owning a salon. It's an advantage sometimes not being the technician. Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so right, let's get into some juicy questions for you, Malcolm.
Right.
So what do you think is the number one challenge in the industry at the moment for salon owners?
Oh, look, by a country mile, probably the staff shortage. It seems to be the most common discussion that I have with people. It's I can't find good staff. I'm looking, but there's no one around. So I would say that's the most common challenge. You didn't ask me what the reason might be.
Go for it.
You'd like me to give you my theory?
Go for it.
I don't want to talk about why. I believe that the changes in government policy a few years ago, when they took away the incentives to take on apprentices, and then they privatised the training, I think that has a lot to do with where we're at now. But it doesn't have to be that way. So I guess if you're looking for an answer to what that problem the answer to that problem is, one of the answers is stop complaining about it and start training hairdressers. I'm looking directly at the camera, so I'm looking at every single person that's sitting watching this. So if you're not training an apprentice, then you're part of the problem. And you're also part of the solution if you are training apprentices, because that's the only way that this industry will be fulfilling the need for hairdressers in the future, is if we as an industry start to take responsibility in training them again. Anyway, off my bandwagon. So that's right. With that.
So do you find that's the same with the beauty side?
Not so much. Not so much. The beauty therapists, they have a different approach. I know Haito have recently, in the last couple of years or so, been starting a beauty apprenticeship, but beauty therapists tend to come out of the schools with better attitudes and better training than hairdressers have been coming out of the schools, the private schools, because that's the way they've always done it. For a long, long time. So there's slightly less of a challenge finding beauty therapists as there is to finding hairdressers. There may be as big a challenge finding good ones.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think also one of the things is it's about a salon owner being really, really clear about the type of person that they're wanting to. And I think if you have the attributes that you are looking for in that person, then you're getting really, really clear on who it is that you're looking for. And sometimes it can be taking on somebody out of the fear of not having anyone. And sometimes that's the worst mistake, that because it's easy to hire somebody, but it's really hard. It's such a big challenge to, if that person's not working out. I was trying to be diplomatic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and fair enough, because for years and years, staff members of all businesses and all industries were exploited. And we can get into a huge conversation about this, but I believe in the pendulum. The pendulum was too far to the left or to the right, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And swings, and so staff exploited, let's swing it, and now it's up the other side where it's kind of like, well, the salon owner or the business owner is almost exploited now, and at some stage it will come down and sit sort of where it should be, about the middle, where it's fair for the owner. But at the moment, I think we're swinging a bit far the other way. So I do sympathise with all your salon owners out there.
Yeah, totally.
Well, what do I do? She's not turning up, but I guess it's 6 keys to winning an inspired team.
Which is what Malcolm has given into our Successful Salon Club members in their collection this month. So, speaking about January, we are in the first month of 2019.
Yes.
What would you recommend salon owners do right now to ensure that they are setting themselves up to have a really successful year?
Right. What would I suggest they do right now, if they haven't already done it, is to take time out of their busyness, go park their car at a beach, or go and sit at their favourite cafe for an hour, for 4 hours, go away for the weekend, and focus on what you want for your business in the next 12 months. What is it you want to achieve? Now, a lot of people say, well, goals. Yeah, well, goals, targets. What do you want? What is it you actually want to achieve? Do you want to have a successful business? Yes, I do. What does that business look like? How many staff? Write it all down and then start to say, I've formulated now what it is that I want to achieve. I know where I'm going this year. Next step, how the heck am I going to get there? Right, well, if you know where you are, so identify where you are right now. If you know where you want to go, then the next step is just the roadmap between the 2 points. So what's, Stephen Covey in his book, or one of his books, I think it was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he wrote, if you want to go somewhere, begin with the end in mind. So that means know where you want to go and then work backwards from there. So if you want $1 million in the bank by the 31st of December, how much have you got in the bank today? Let's say you've got 100,000 in the bank today. Well, it's no good trying to put $1 million in the bank next month. But if you want $1 million in the bank by December, how much do you need to have in the bank in November? Potentially, I don't know, 8 or 900,000. Okay, how much in September? How much in October? Did I do that backwards? Anyway, come back to, and so what's the next step tomorrow on my road to achieving that result, and plan it out. So I guess the two keys are targets and achievement, what you want to achieve, and then the plan to how you're going to get there.
Cool. Love it, love it, love it. So what is one mistake that you see salon owners consistently making, and how can they overcome this?
Okay. I guess it's actually something to do with plan. So to do with question one, they don't plan. That's probably one of the most consistent mistakes that salon, they don't actually know where they're going, and they don't have a plan to get there. And there's an old saying that I use quite often. Probably my clients get sick of hearing it. I'm dragging it out every so often. It's like, if you don't know where you're going, who knows? You may already be there. And so if you it's not planning and not having that target for what you want to achieve. So it's the opposite. Question one, what do they need to do? They need to plan. What aren't they doing? Planning.
And I think it's really important that salon owners give themselves the permission to take time out of their business to go and plan and take that time to really just sit with what it is that they truly desire. What is it they want for their business? What is it they want for their life? Like, if part of your plan is to only work, 5 days a week on the floor, but, you want to pick up your kids at 3, then work that into it.
Exactly.
But they have to give themselves permission. They get caught up in all the busyness and having to do this, that they forget to take that time to plan.
I think they also, Tony, look at the dollars that they're losing rather than the quality of life or even the dollars that they're not getting if they changed. Because if I'm on the floor and I can earn $120 an hour or whatever the price might be, let's call it that. And I think, okay, I can do that client and get $120, or I can sit in my car at the beach, which I say car at the beach because that's my favourite spot.
Oh, that's mine.
And I just sit in the car, or I sit on the bench that's there if it's a nice day. But anyway, that hour, they think I'm losing $120. No, you're not. If you use that hour to actually generate where you want to be and start to formulate a bit of a plan, you're gaining so much more in the long run. So it's an investment in your business. It's not an expense to your business.
I totally agree.
I'm stopping now because
I love it. And I think when we talk marketing, it's like, if you actually got off the floor for 3 hours, planned out your marketing for the next 3 months, how much more money would that generate than what you just made on the floor in that 3 hours?
$120 as opposed to $5,000.
Like.
Yeah.
But it's about them giving themselves permission.
There's one thing too, Tony, and I totally agree with you. But the other thing that I truly believe, and we can talk about this because you and I work with this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so I think, we need to sort of acknowledge that the salon owner is sitting, listening to say me talking to them, and they're going, yeah, that's great. I'll take my car to the beach. I'll sit there with my pad and pen and I'll get ready to write, but I don't know what to do. I don't actually know what to do. I know what I want, but I don't know how to do it. And I kind of acknowledge that. So, you know, if you are sitting there not knowing how to do it, get online. I mean, there's just like Tony's got a group. I've got stuff. There's thousands of Google, you know, what to do
Send us
next.
some emails. Like,
Yeah,
don't sit there. We are here to help you. And
that's
so send
why
us
we're
an
here.
email. Yeah, totally.
Anyway,
And
it's not about
and
self,
yeah,
right? But I just want to acknowledge that
I agree.
we can say, oh, you know, they're just not doing it as you know, salon owners or business owners. But I think in a lot of cases, they just, you know they need to, but they don't know how to. And so
I agree.
hopefully the link there is us and people
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so Malcolm and I are always here. So if anyone is feeling like they don't know how or have a question, feel free to email us. We've got Facebook pages. You can post questions on there. You can message us on our Facebook pages. We're here to help.
And if you don't know how to do any of that, send a courier pigeon.
Yeah.
Get information and we'll get it back to you.
Okay, so can you talk us through, like I would really love the people in Successful Salons community to know how you work with people and how you can transform, because you've had such great successes, and how you can transform, you know, your salon owners.
Yeah, sure. It's about getting real with them and helping them with understanding that essentially, look, I don't know where to start, to be fair, Tony. There's so many different aspects to it. But a lot of people say to me when they contact me and they're like, oh, I hope you've got all the answers. And I say, well, you know, just before we get to the answers, I've got way more questions than answers, because there's a lot of things that we need to understand about your business and where you're at and what's happening. But I kind of call it the fix. You know, we've got to fix you before we fix your business. And because most of the challenges that business owners have, and I'm trying to be tactful here, but I'm not going to be tactful, bugger it. Most people, the challenge is their own head. You know, we talked about the salon owner on the floor making the $120 because she wants the money, but her headspace can't expand, or his headspace doesn't expand enough to say, well, if I spend an hour focused on a little bit of future, I might turn that $120 into $5,000. So it's helping people realize that there are other ways of doing things. I work, you know, not necessarily specifically in mindset, but that's certainly part of it. Strategy is definitely part of it. Planning, you know, marketing. What are you doing? Talked to a salon owner the other day who was struggling, and I said to her, you know, what are you actually doing at the moment to generate clients? And she said, well, nothing. And I said, so you're getting exactly what you're asking for, because you're not doing anything. You know, I always finish my seminars and workshops off with one little acronym. It's called ACT, you know, and it means action changes things. You know, if you're not taking action, just take some. Don't be scared if it's the wrong action, because an action is going to get a reaction. Inaction doesn't. So whether it's the right or wrong action, at least it's something, and then you can work from there. So I work with salon owners and you know, one-on-one, helping them get through just the mire of actually simplifying their business. And I like to think I've got a fairly uncomplicated way of doing that, and no bullshit.
Yeah, love it.
We're not here to stuff around. It's like, you know, get this done, go do that. And most people know what they want to do, but they don't quite know how to get there. And all I do is help them over that hurdle.
That's great. So I am going to post up all the links for Malcolm's website, his Facebook, and all his social media for you. So that will be in this as well down below. So you can click on any of those to get to see what Malcolm is up to. So for salon owners that are working on the floor 6 or 7 days a week, still have to work on their business, then they still have their marketing, their social media, their finances. They still have families or a partner that require them to be present, and I say present. This can be super, super overwhelming for them.
Yep.
So can you share any tips that is going to help them stop feeling overwhelmed? And I'm guessing, my head's going, it's going to go back to one of our other answers.
C question one.
Yeah.
Look, it is about what we've talked about. It's about understanding that you don't have to be that person. You don't have to be that person who's always busy. And you mentioned, you know, they're overwhelmed. They've got families, and you know they have to have time for this and that. You know, some people haven't got those families anymore.
That's
And
so true.
that's the reality of it. You know, business should be fun. You should be enjoying yourself. And, you know, the clients that I've probably had most success with are the ones that have realized that they don't have to be on the floor all the time, because they can take the time and generate more income off the floor than they can ever generate cutting hair or doing facial treatments, etc. So get your head right. Seriously, you know, just realize that you don't have to do it. The salon will be better for you not to be on the floor stressed out to the max. You know, I think back to when we had our salon, because it was us. Even though I wasn't a hairdresser, I was sweeping the floor, I was applying colours in those first couple of years. What a bloody nightmare that was. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. But, you know, we would go away to a conference or to something, because I truly believe that education is something that we need to just keep doing. And so, you know, Janet and I would go off to our conference, and, you know, I suppose Janet was a little more of a worrier than I was. And she'd go, oh, I wonder how it's going to go. I wonder if everything's going to be all right. I wonder if we're going to make any money while we're away, and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, it'll be all right. You know, we'll be fine. And the salon operated a hell of a lot better with us away from it than it did with us while we were there. And that made me realize that we were actually the ball and chain on the growth of our business by being there every day, trying to control everything. And that was a huge lesson, that it's like, it doesn't need bloody controlling. You know,
That's the one thing.
You need guidelines, you need, you know, they need to know expectations and all that, but you don't have to be micromanaging. Oh, you know, anyway. So, hopefully that question without spending the next day and a half on it.
No, so I totally agree with you, and it comes back to that planning, the mindset, and letting go of control is a big one, because, you know, as business owners, a lot of them, it doesn't matter what business is, there's a control factor. I mean, Malcolm, you and I can relate to that, and it's about letting go and allowing the people that you've employed to do their job.
And developing the culture that actually they feel safe in taking risks, because that's, you know, some of the things that I teach. It's, you know, allow risk taking. Let the team take the risks, and you know, sure, sometimes they're not going to come off, but, you know, I always say that if it doesn't involve death, then it's okay to do it. Check it out. If it works, it works. If it you know, if there's a chance of someone dying, potentially no. But anything else is fair game. Try it.
Yeah. No, so if anything from any of this, the overwhelm is something that everybody can get out of, and it's a choice, and it's just choosing to do things differently. Yeah.
So yeah, you asked me what it is I work on. I work on fixing you first, then the salon.
Yeah, perfect. Love it. Okay, so now you have an ebook, Malcolm, about the 7 mistakes salon owners make that chop away at profits. Do you want to share a couple of those and the solutions? And then obviously I'll pull the links up for everyone so that they can go and download it from you as well.
Yeah. Well, there's no one more probably important than the other of the 7 that I've come up with, but just a couple of them. And I made a note because I knew you were probably going to ask me about that. I think probably one of the ones that relates to what we've been talking about today is not really having a marketing strategy or a marketing plan. So again, it comes back to that word plan. And so I think that that actually speaks more to the salon owner working in their business than on their business. They don't have time, because by the time they get home from work, they're tired. I mean, this time of year, you know, it's a perfect opportunity, you know, January, let's get that marketing plans. It's not that difficult. You don't have to be Ogilvy and Mather or whoever the big marketing people are in the world. You know, you just have to go, what are we going to do next month? You know, we're going to do elapsed clients. Are we going to do, maybe we'll do a mystery client in June. Plan it out, you know. So the marketing plan, not having the marketing plan is probably one of the bigger ones. And the other one is, not really having an effective online presence. A lot of people have got an online presence, but they're not necessarily that effective. So it's probably, if you're not sure about how or what you need to do, then you don't need to learn how and what you need to do. All you need to know is what you want to get. And when you know what you want to get, go find someone that knows how to do it, and tell them what you want, and let them get it for you with your guidance and guidelines of, in the online presence. So do it better.
Love it. Absolutely
Anyway,
love
yeah,
it.
that's a couple of them.
Yeah, no, that's good. So when we talk, before we've touched on like salon and teaming, and what I will probably want to talk to you about is salon culture. So what is a culture? What is the difference between a great salon culture and a not so great salon culture? And why is this super important for the growth of your salon?
Right, I'll try and answer each of those questions very briefly.
Okay.
What is salon culture? Well, my belief salon culture is it's not what we do, it's how we do it. So culture is all about the how we actually behave around here. This is how we do things. That was, I think, the first question.
Mm-hmm.
What was the second part of the question?
What is the difference between a great salon culture and a not so great salon culture?
Okay. Generally, discipline, rules of the game. Generally, there's no guidelines on how we want you to behave. And if, as an addendum to that, if there are rules, there are no consequences. So the salon owners that I meet that are pulling their hair out and they're strung out because of their staff, it's not generally about that. It's generally about the staff aren't actually misbehaving because they're naughty or bad people. It's that there are no guidelines. There is no rule of how to behave, and there's no expectations for both parties. So I guess I relate it to people with children. If you've got children, I'm sure you've got guidelines on how they should behave at the kitchen table, or how they should behave around when other adults come and visit, and all that sort of thing. There are rules, and what happens if they break the rules? They normally get punished, whether it be, no, you're not having a biscuit, or whether it be, go to your room, or whatever the punishment might be. But you actually enforce those rules with your children. Why aren't you enforcing the rules that you've set with your team? Because effectively, we're all just big kids, and we need that guideline. Culture is about how we do things, and creating that culture in the business is about setting the boundaries and adhering to them. What was the third question of the question?
So it's a big question. Why is salon culture, and why having a great salon culture is important for the growth of your salon?
Well, if you want to have a really pumping salon where it's a lot of fun for clients and team and you to be in, then culture is how you create that. There are, I can relate back to many years ago when I was working for the company as a rep, and there were two salons. One where there was just a bunch of people working, and they were virtually beside each other. And one was absolutely pumping and really, really fantastic atmosphere, and you'd walk in and you really felt like you belonged to something. The salon next door had two hairdressers that were award winners. They had trophies in the window and in the back and behind the reception desk of all the competitions that they'd won, and they were sitting around in the back room, rolling smokes and going, well, the clients will come soon. But they were the most droll people in the world. They didn't have a culture, whereas the salon next door were about, they knew what they were about. They were about having fun. They were about creating the experience for the client to have fun, so clients wanted to be there. I mean, I'm sure you've been out with your partners looking for somewhere to eat, and there's 3 restaurants and 2 of them are empty and one's busy. Which one do you want to go to? The one that's busy, because they must be doing something right. So, it's about creating that environment for attracting the right people to your business. I think I answered the question.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's good.
Yeah, the difference is that the 2 sitting in the back room going, haven't got any clients, so why are you sitting in the back room? Why aren't you smiling? Why aren't you making it look like you're enjoying yourself at work?
And it needs to be fun, and you need to be having fun at work. And I think when you high vibe and people want to be around you and people are attracted to that, and it's just a natural thing that occurs. So totally. Okay, so how can the Successful Salons community work with you? So I know that you've got a bit of a special offer coming out in January.
Yeah, I've got something that I've been working on. Essentially, you know, the best results I get with the people I work with are that one-on-one, and normally, you know, it takes a few months to kind of get your head around things and start getting underway, but we can actually start doing things fairly quickly in the first 4 sessions of a coaching program. So I've actually been thinking about this question that you said I'm going to ask you for an offer for my people. So I will release the details of it a little bit later in January, but it's probably going to revolve around a certain number of sessions, and there'll be some free sessions with it. It won't be too hard to get into, but it'll be a good taster of what we can do, you know, for your business.
So if you click on the links down below, we will have Malcolm's offer down there for you, and you'll have all the links to all his platforms, and you'll be able to see what he offers, and then obviously download his book as well. So Malcolm, thank you very, very much for taking the time out to share your wisdom and knowledge with Successful Salons community. And you are our featured expert as well in our Successful Salons Club, and Malcolm talks about the 6 keys of a winning team. So thank you very, very much, Malcolm.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tony. It's been great.
And I hope you have an amazing 2019.
Plan to. You too. See you later.